You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
You've had a long day at work, and you can't wait to just get home, take off your shoes, plop yourself down in your favorite chair, and relax. You walk up to your tranquil residential home and your neatly manicured lawn in your quiet suburban neighborhood, put the key in the lock, open the door, and... Yes, the pets have gone wild! What were you thinking? Welcome to the show about everything you always wanted to know about exotic pets, where to get them, what to feed them, and how to care for them. You'll even find out why some people live with a monkey. Now, here's your host, exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart. Hey, Bob, what were you thinking?
Hi, I'm Bob Tart, author of the books Enslaved by Ducks, Foul Weather, and my latest book, Kitty Cornered, and I'm back with my wife, Linda, for a long overdue new installment of our podcast, What Were You Thinking? Hi, Linda.
Hello.
So what mostly are we going to talk about today?
Well, one thing you want to talk about is your good luck with your book.
Yeah, this summer, seems like a long time ago because it's starting to turn into winter here. This is just a little after Thanksgiving 2012 right now. But back in August, my publisher discounted the ebook for Enslaved by Ducks, so they marked it down to $1.99. And so it was only $1.99 on Kindle, Nook, and Apple iBooks, and I don't know what else.
It's a whole bunch of books they marked down.
Yeah, they marked down,
for like 1 month or something.
Yeah, for 1 month they marked down 6 books that were Algonquin books. But anyway, I was shocked by how well my book did at the $1.99 price.
It did great.
Yeah, on Amazon for 6 weeks, so that's even 2 weeks after it was back up to full price. For 6 weeks, Enslaved by Ducks was the number one best-selling pet book in any format on Amazon. So that's both the print book and Kindle books. So Enslaved by Ducks was number one. And for 20 days, it was in the top 100 Kindle books. So,
which is amazing.
Yeah, and
a lot of books on there.
At one point, it was number 42, so that means it was the 42nd best-selling book of all of the Kindle books.
Just amazing.
And then the last thing I want to say is that for 3 weeks, it was on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. I didn't even know the Wall Street Journal had a bestseller list. But it was in the top 10 in nonfiction ebooks in that category.
So
now, thanks to the Wall Street Journal, I am officially a national best-selling author.
Wow.
Briefly. And
so great.
Yeah, and I think we get all of 40 cents royalty per book at that low price. So I don't know how many books sold yet, but
still, it's good publicity.
I'm not quitting my job anytime soon.
It's wonderful publicity for a whole month to have it number one pet book.
Yep. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we could talk about our trip that we had early in the fall.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't early in the fall. It was mid-fall. Early in October. And one reason we were not able to get away a lot sooner was because of problems we could not find a pet sitter. I ran ads, and more ads. Nobody appropriate appeared in any of those ads. I just couldn't find anybody.
Did we even get very many calls?
We did have one lady that was sound. She came over. She seemed real nice, and we liked her, and then she never showed up for the time she was supposed to come to try out doing it. Never showed up, never called us. We never know what happened. It was just as well that didn't work out. But so we were just about ready to give up. Because I had run so many ads and called everybody I knew. Just wasn't working out. I thought, well, we're not going to get to go on a trip this year. Finally, I woke up one morning and the name of this lady that used to pet sit for us years ago came into my mind. It must have been from the Lord. And I just didn't think of calling her because she had been working full-time for so many years. I thought she just could, the last time I talked to her years ago, she said, no, I can't do it for you anymore. I'm working full-time. But that's the name that came into my mind. I called her and she said, well, I really would love to. If I can work my schedule out somehow, I would love to do it. So it gave us some hope, and she did work it out, and we were able to go on our 3-day trip. And we went on a 3-day. We went on a trip every year since we've been married in 1990. We used to go on 7 or 8 or 9-day trips. Now we're down to 3-day trips because of my back. But we went on a trip at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, for all the years we've been married. So we hated to not go on a trip. So that was great.
Yep. And by the way, if you're new to the show, you probably are hearing birds in the background. Mostly right now, that's Georgie the parakeet, but I wouldn't doubt if Dusty,
Harvey and Dusty.
Yeah, some of the other birds chime in too.
That cottage.
Yeah, but I wanted to say first that it's pretty hard for us to find a pet sitter because we still have 30 animals. And it's funny that lady Linda talked about, she seemed real enthusiastic about doing it while she was over here. And she was
Loved
the one...
animals.
She was the one who...
pet-sitted her relation and loved it.
She was the one who suggested that she wanted to come back and a couple of times go through the whole routine with us and see, how it would turn out, how it went, just so she could learn it.
Very encouraged by that.
And we set up a time for her to be there on, 2 weeks later, and
never showed up. Couldn't even get her on the phone. The one thing that we tried to figure out what could have put her off. I know when we were out in the goose pen and duck pen with her, she made the remark that she thought they'd be hard to herd back in. She wasn't used to that, of dealing with geese and ducks and stuff. And we said, oh, no, they're herd animals. They just all follow around together, and they're not in trouble at all. But I don't think she believed us. I thought maybe she was a little nervous that they wouldn't go where she wanted them to go. So that might have been a factor.
Yep, I think
that
so.
Might have been a
and
factor.
Some people are scared of geese, and probably that's smart because some geese are kind of nasty, but ours are nice.
Oh, yeah, ours were fine. But you never know what goes through people's mind. I never understand people that don't call back or let you know if they're going to cancel. What's up with that, folks? I mean, I just don't understand that. It's rude. So it's just as well. She wouldn't have worked out if she acts like that.
Yeah, because we can't stand people that we can't get in contact with. Because we've had people in the past who have been good pet sitters, but you can never get them on the phone. And so what good is that?
What good is that? And we wouldn't want somebody like that. So it was well that it didn't turn out. And as it turned out, the person that we got was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and it's Jamie. I can say her name because I wrote about her in... I think foul weather, and I talk about her as such a good pet sitter in foul weather.
She's a great pet sitter, and she's the one that the other one did too. But she's the one that writes these long journals telling what she does the whole time she's here. Even like times 9:45, I went out to the barn and blah blah blah. And she writes little remarks about the animals and things she noticed.
Duck.
Yeah, she said that when she was out in the pen there, she thought she heard the geese say "duck, duck, goose." I mean, just funny little things like that she'd say. And I really love those journals. I mean, it's one thing I look forward to. I enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed the trip on different years when she pet sitted, just reading what she's going to write in her journal. So it's just an extra little treat. Yeah, we really just appreciate her so much.
Now, you had another little search you had to do, and that was for a place to stay because you don't like staying in motels.
Right, I can't sleep in motel rooms. Gives me a claustrophobic attack. So I was trying to find something like maybe a cottage. Something, and I always have to go to the chiropractor when we are on our trips, and we knew of a city nearby where we were going to be, where there was one. So I wanted to find a place to stay sort of halfway between Lake Michigan and this chiropractor. So lo and behold, I punched in, cottages, and then
this is near New Buffalo.
Yeah, near
and that's in southern Michigan,
right? And I punched in the name of a town there, about where I wanted it to be, and I'll be darned if there wasn't a cottage resort there. And they were just beautiful, beautiful little cottages. You could rent them by the night. You had to rent 2 nights minimum, but they were not much more than what a motel room was.
They're little log cabins.
They're little log cabin looking things, redwood looking. They were fully furnished. They were like a timeshare kind of thing where they belonged to somebody. And this one they gave us had beautiful landscaping. The lady was evidently a gardener. It was decorated with her decorative plates and all their little stuff. And, oh, gosh, it had a screened-in porch that was to die for, overlooking this little lake, and there was a dock. And it's just a wonderful little cottage. And we've never stayed in a cottage before on a trip. And that was and I had no trouble going to sleep in that. It was wonderful.
Nope.
Just wonderful.
Nope. And it was late fall, but there were still some birds, so I enjoyed it because in the morning I'd go out on the screened porch and then go outside, and there were golden crown kinglets. There's a Carolina wren that was singing real nice in the yard,
day.
And yellow rump warblers and other birds too. So
there was a Canada goose that was swimming back and forth in the pond there while we were there and honking some. And there was actually 2 bird watching sites, one up the street in one direction, half a mile, and one in the other direction, half a mile. And the one, it was on the last day we went there, and Bob saw a snipe, and we saw this beautiful, I don't know what kind of hawk that was, but it was a small hawk, and we saw that like right away, right at the beginning of the trail.
Turned out to be a sharpshin.
Was it? Is that what it was?
Yep, but I don't see snipe very often.
No, I never saw one.
This was a grassland. Park,
it was like
a prairie.
Right, it was tall grains, and it had nice trails through it. We didn't get to walk on it very much. We were in a hurry that day. But
and it was
nice, though, real nice.
Yep, and then
I'd go back there again in a minute.
And then there's this woods the other way that's kind of well known as a spot for, I think, cerulean warblers and some other birds you don't see very often. It's a nesting spot for them in the summer. Of course, there was no sign of any birds when we were there. It was raining, too.
Right, it wasn't a good day for that one. But the other trail was it was a nice day that last day. We got to go to Lake Michigan. I actually went wading in Lake Michigan. It was like, should have been cold weather, but it was 77 degrees that day. Beautiful blue sky. Took off my shoes and socks and went wading in Lake Michigan.
Now, once again, the Weather Bureau was not our friend.
No.
I don't know what's happened. It seems like not too many years ago, you could pretty much rely on weather reports, especially if you kind of take into consideration checking a few sources. But we found that even when you check a few sources, how wrong they are. One
station on TV will be a totally different description of what the weather will be from another one.
But sometimes they all agree and they're all wrong.
Right, I don't get that. They got all that radar equipment. How can they be wrong?
Because the first day on our trip, it was supposed to be rainy in the morning and then nice the rest of the day.
It was nice all day, as I recall it.
No, not that first day. The first day it rained all day, remember?
No, that was Wednesday. It rained all day Wednesday.
Well,
Tuesday was sunny most of the day.
Okay, I meant our first full day, not the day we drove there.
Right. Yeah, that rained all day and all night.
And it was supposed to just be raining in the morning. Mm-hmm. And
rained all day, all night.
So we were...
Not a good day to go to the zoo. That's the day we went to
or
the
to
zoo.
go to bird watching or anything.
Nothing. And there was detours in that town where we were, and if there's one thing Bob hates, it's detours. Hard enough finding your way around a strange town, let alone detours.
Oh, that was when we went to South Bend to the zoo.
Yeah, so the animals were nice there. But so, yeah, that you just can't predict weather.
But they were just adamant about it being clear all afternoon.
Oh, yeah. No, couldn't be.
Nope. And then the next day, it was all the weather reports said it was going to be rainy all day the next day, the day we were coming home.
Did they say that?
Yes. And so what happened, we got up and we looked out the window.
It was 77. It was like a summer day.
Sky.
Like a
It was supposed to be thunderstorms all day.
Really?
Yeah.
And so it was sort of like a day behind. They were like one day off. And
they were completely wrong both days. And instead, it was a beautiful day. There wasn't any trace of rain until we just about got home. And then I think...
just a little sprinkle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to go to 2 beaches, Van Buren State Park and that one there in New Buffalo. Both beautiful.
Buffalo. Yeah.
New Buffalo, beautiful beaches and stuff. We saw a stone shaped like my car, which is a Scion, and it's kind of an odd-shaped car.
Looks like a bread truck.
Yeah. We found this flat stone that was shaped exactly like that, so that was a treat.
Yep. I was looking for birds at New Buffalo because I think last year we saw common terns and some kind of sandpiper, but we were a little late this year, so we didn't really see anything.
It's nice when the last day of your trip is a beautiful day because that kind of sticks in your memory, so... I was grateful to the Lord for that last day was a beautiful, beautiful sunlit day, warm, seagulls all over the place. We got to sit on the picnic table there and eat our sandwiches from Subway, and very perfect day.
Yep, it was. We are just at about the halfway point, so going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. You are listening to What Were You Thinking, a podcast supposedly about exotic pets by Bob and Linda Tart, but I don't think we've done a podcast.
Veered off in another direction.
We always veer off in another direction, so we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
What Were You Thinking? We'll be right back after Bob gets the ducks out of his living room. Don't go away.
Is the coast clear?
Yes, let's go.
Are you sure they went to Petco?
Where else would they go?
Whoopsie.
Calm down.
I smell presents.
Go to PetcoDeals.com and get $6 off your order of $60 or more and up to 40% off hundreds of holiday items at Petco. That's PetcoDeals.com. Go now.
Uh-oh, step on it.
Okay.
Ow, not on my tail.
Petco, where the pets go.
X-Power is a global brand that offers a complete line of stand dryers, cage dryers, and multiple blasters that cater to both home and professional groomers. Designed to be quiet, lightweight, and powerful, X-Power pet dryers will save you time, energy, and money. The X-Power B2 Pro at Home Dryer is the perfect holiday gift for family and friends. Please check out our holiday specials at viperpet.com and amazon.com. For more information, visit xpower.ws or call 855-855-8868.
It's the holidays at PetSmart, so come one and all. There are hundreds of gifts for pets big and pets small. Toys only at PetSmart, so special and new. They'll love the gifts. You'll love the value. Hurry to PetSmart today for your very best friend and save 30 to 50% before the holiday ends.
The holidays are just around the corner. Go to PetLifeRadio.com/PetSmart and save up to 30% on awesome gifts for the pets and pet people in your life. Toys, collars, leashes, PetSmart gift cards, treats, and more. So shop early and save money. Go to PetLifeRadio.com/PetSmart today.
Jungle deep, deep, deep. Hi, I'm Dr. Jones. I invite you to join us on the podcast that explores the tropical lifestyle, Jungle Deep. Jungle deep, deep, deep. Our safari includes exotic animals, tropical plants, exotic food and drink, jungle movies, exotic music, rainforest conservation, and wildlife preservation. So join us. Jungle deep, deep, deep.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. Okay, ducks are in the pond, rabbits in his hutch, and monkeys... Ow! In my car! Oh, okay, well, I go check my insurance policy. We'll turn you back over to Bob.
Hi, you're back with What Were You Thinking? With Bob Tart and Linda Tart. I mentioned my book a little while ago, Enslaved by Ducks, and you can find that on Amazon.com and several other spots. And you can find information of all three of my books at my website, which is just bobtarte.com, BOBTARTE.com. And my latest book is Kitty Cornered, and it's about life in a small house, the craziness of living with six crazy cats, and it focuses on a very skittish stray cat named Franny, who we thought would be the last cat that would ever adjust to being a house cat, because she was pretty wild when we brought her in. And so
Now she's the prima donna of the house.
Prima donna, yeah. So you read all about it in Kitty Cornered. So
make a great Christmas present for the cat lover on your list.
That's for sure. We had a couple, well, actually one in particular little unexpected problem at our idyllic cabin, and that was after we left the first day.
I said,
and then came
there's
back.
a gate here. I hope that thing wouldn't close on us.
Yeah, when we were leaving,
It's kind
we
of
noticed
a gated community
there
type
was
thing.
a gate there, and I said, they would have told us.
They would have told us. And sure enough, when we came back, that thing was locked up tighter than a drum. It was a black wrought iron gate. We didn't know how to get in.
No one had told us.
Nobody said a word about it, and there we were. And how would we get in?
And it's not like it was you just go around the gate and you walk 20 feet.
It's
There's
quite
a
a long
long drive, and so it would have been quite a ways back to our cabin, and
Where
what
would
we're
we-
supposed
what would
to
we do
just
with the
leave our
car?
car. Yeah, when we checked in,
Never
there
said a
wasn't
word.
one word from anybody about, by the way, you will get locked out tonight.
Nothing like that. So we didn't know what to do. There was, luckily, a guy came along that was leaving at the time we were sitting there perplexed, and he showed Bob what to do to get in.
Yeah, there was...
Otherwise, what would we have done?
I don't know. I was just supposed to wave the keychain of our key. It didn't look like anything. It didn't look like something that had a microchip in it. But I was just supposed to wave that in front of this little part of the panel by the gate.
Do you think you would have thought of that on your own?
It's possible. I've tried everything, including taking my shoes off and waving them in front of something. Yeah, banging them together. But I think this guy might have worked there.
You think that he did?
I think
Might
so.
be.
And it was also funny because when we checked in, we paid cash, and they didn't give us a receipt. I was back out to my car, and I thought, well, this is sort of odd. So I walked in and asked the woman for a receipt. She was on the phone all the time.
Couldn't get off the phone.
Couldn't be bothered to help us.
That would be too much work.
Yep, so that was a little problem. And then there was mysterious noises.
Yeah, we kept It wasn't. It was worse than a ping, wasn't it? It was
It sounded like someone,
a gun going off or something.
I thought
it was hitting the outside of the cabin at different places on the side.
Well,
the
it wasn't just the cabin. I heard it all through the place. It sounded like across the lake. This was a small lake, but it was
more like a pond in a way.
Yeah, although it's kind of long.
Probably man-made.
But there was sometimes it sounded like someone was taking two 2x4s and thwacking them together.
Something
I thought
like
there was
that.
construction at first.
Something.
And then sometimes it would be right. It sounded like the cabin was shaking.
Yeah, it sounded like it was hitting
shooting
us.
A gun in the cabin.
Yeah. It sounded like not like a BB gun, but something like
oh,
that.
Oh, no,
hitting
it was
the
bang.
It was,
bang.
yeah, it was a louder noise than
and
like
I'd be
a ping.
outside on the porch and I'd hear it next door.
Day and night.
Is
went on all day and all night.
Mm-hmm.
Not just continuous, but off and on.
Yeah, and we were absolutely perplexed
what
what
could it
that
be?
might be. And what did we find out?
Turned out to be acorns.
Acorns.
And you wouldn't really think, acorn. But seriously, it was a very loud sound.
Now, there's a metal roof on the cabin, and so that kind of explains it.
Must have resonated it louder.
But I was surprised when there was a wooden walkway going up to the door. And I was surprised how loud the acorn was falling. It banged when it hit the roof, and then it just fell from the roof onto that kind of deck, the wooden walkway. And it made a big noise there, too. So maybe there's a particular kind of oak tree that has acorns that are made out of lead.
Something. I don't know what it was.
But I remember the first night we were there, that woke me up a couple times.
Right.
It's like, what the heck?
So
Is
loud.
somebody shooting outside our window?
Yeah, in this little resort. It's crazy.
Yep, absolutely. So we
got home to roof leaks.
Yeah, we had some adventures once we got home.
Well, of course, our roof by the linen closet has leaked for many years, so it's not like it was anything new, but it was worse than usual, and we were trying to get it fixed.
Yeah, I mean, and there was the wall board was starting to warp a little bit.
There was these bubbles of every time it rained real hard from a certain direction, it would go behind the paint, between the paint and the plasterboard, and make like this bubble of water that had gotten to the point where the bubble had burst and it was flowing down the wall. It's kind of bad.
We've had this roof patch several times. I reminded Linda.
We've had like 5, 6, 7 guys over the last 12 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
I reminded Linda that, and I think you said you'd forgotten, but once about 10 years ago or so, actually the globe of the lamp, that's the ceiling lamp, was half full of water.
Oh, my gosh.
So somehow water, I don't know why they didn't alarm us at the time.
You'd
but
think it would have shorted something out.
It wasn't half full. It was about a third filled. And luckily it never quite touched the light bulb, or that would have been a disaster.
Oh, my gosh.
So we had a guy who decided that we shouldn't just be patching the roof, that we should
replace this section.
Yeah, and this section of the roof is a part of our roof that does not have the metal roof. We have a metal roof on our house.
Right,
it
but
has
this
that
one section
roofing.
has this rolled roofing. He said, rip that off, put regular metal roofing up there, which he did. But they were in the process of doing all this, and they had ripped off the substrat. I don't know what you call that stuff.
Well, it was
beneath the
it was actually
roofing.
The wooden boards, and he said that there were some that were rotted because water had gotten in. And so they picked the day when it was just about to be pouring rain to pull the boards out. And he said, well, no problem.
Are you sure they ripped the boards out?
Yes.
I thought they just ripped the thing.
No.
Maybe that's why it was so bad.
That's why it was so bad.
So it was this one night that we had this terrible electrical storm with rain coming down in buckets, and Bob walked into the bathroom at 10:30 at night, and the water is just streaming down the wall.
Now, he had said this wouldn't happen because he had a real
tarp.
heavy-duty tarp.
140-pound tarp on that roof.
Right.
Unfortunately, that tarp evidently had holes in it.
Yes, that's what he found out. And because they had said, well, it would be no problem taking the boards out even if it rains tonight.
Got a big tarp there.
Yeah, because of this
No
heavy-duty tarp that was made to cover and protect a semi-trailer.
So it should be fine.
Yeah, and
right.
so rivulets of water. Here I am ready to go to bed after, about 10:30.
Right down the bathroom
Streaming
wall.
down the wall.
So
we had our own
you got to call somebody.
Linda always likes to go to waterfalls when we go on our trip.
Yeah, we had our own waterfall.
We had our waterfall right in the
house.
bathroom, and it was horrifying. But to his credit, we called the guy.
We called one guy, and he wouldn't even answer the phone. The other guy said, I need to come right over. Well, this was in the middle of a torrential rainstorm with electrical work and everything, lightning and everything, and it was just scary. And he did, though. He lived quite a ways away. He came over late at night, 11 o'clock at night or
Pitch
later.
dark.
He didn't come in the house, but he called me on the cell phone. He says, I've got to get a new tarp. He went up the street to this all-night play in Myers Place. It's something like a super Walmart. He bought 2 big tarps. He came back. It's a wonder through the grace of God, he didn't get electrocuted. He went up there in the middle of that storm and tucked that. He really couldn't even move that 140 pound. I think he
Not
tucked
the whole
it under.
thing. You can move parts of it.
He pulled it up and he got that under it, and it did stop the water from.
It did.
I'll never forget. I told him after the whole job was done, I'll never forget that long as I live, that you got up there in that kind of a storm.
Yeah, of course he was kind of
life and limb.
protecting his interests too, because he decided that he really needed to fix the bathroom wall that got ruined because he didn't have the tarps up there correctly. So the damage would have been a lot worse if
well,
he
they
had
were
let
up
it
there
rain
correctly.
all night.
He didn't know they had holes in them, so
Didn't he tell you later that he had lent that tarp to somebody, and they had turned out they had nailed it, and so there were holes all through it.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but he didn't think of that. So
Nope.
But it turned out okay. They finally got the job done, and they fixed the bathroom walls in the hall wall, and they replaced the plasterboard, painted. Everything is beautiful now.
Yep.
Let's hope that it's all fixed.
Yep.
Fix the roof, replace the bad part of the roof.
Yep. And then
seems to be good.
And getting back to animals, we were a little concerned about our ducks, geese, and hen, because we did a show before about the problem we had last year with a mink attacking our critters.
It was around this time of year, wasn't it?
No,
a little bit earlier.
It was December and into the last attack was New Year's Day, January 1st.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought it was in the fall.
No.
Really? There was no snow on the ground? Because was here that day.
No, I remember that was the last attack.
Really?
Yeah. So that was when Gary came over. We may have lost one other chicken in a daylight raid by that mink, but that was the last big attack.
Trambo was over here, something to do with that tree being cut.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, but anyway, that's when it was. So the thing is, our ducks, geese, and hen have to spend all their time outside in a pen now. It used to be they could come and go into the barn and get warm.
But that's not safe.
That's not safe because the mink can get into the barn and can get them. So we had this Fort Knox of a pen built, but we were worried about them not having any shelter in that pen.
The outdoor pen that is now covered with hardware cloth and is very safe.
Yeah.
However, there's nothing in there like a shelter.
I think we mentioned in our last show, not even a butterfly can get out. That's how tight it is now.
Yeah, it's really tight. It's a half-inch square hardware cloth, and so we wanted something for them to be able to just get into, that you could put straw in case there's a storm. They're pretty hardy animals. When they were in the pen in the backyard, they would sit out there when it was 10 below, and they had a storage barn they could have gone into at that time. They hardly ever did.
I don't think they ever did. I think the only time they ever went into it was in the summer when it was kind of hot.
I don't know.
I think one of the reasons is because it was just a little door, and I think the geese don't like going through ducks and geese. I think they like you said, they like being outside.
Right.
They like more open structures.
Right. So but we just thought they should have some kind of shelter. So we ended up having this, how would you describe that? It's like a little carport thing with sides, top, and back.
Yeah, just
and
no
front. And then a floor, but no front. And it's kind of small. It's like about, 5 foot long?
It's about 6 foot,
knee-high,
6 foot wide, 4 foot high.
So slanted roof
and about 4
downward
foot
so
deep.
the rain or snow could slide off. And there's got a real high front so they can walk in easily. And it's like a little manger type thing.
That's right. It sits right in the
west
pen.
Side.
But
it's in the pen, so nothing can get in there to get them.
Right. I was afraid at first that we didn't want to eat up space with something like that, but as a matter of fact, they love it. It's sort of like environment enrichment. It gives them another thing to mess around with in their pen, so they don't get bored, and so they can now walk in and out of that. And they like the straw, like you say. The hen likes pecking at it, looking, because there's sometimes pieces of grain still attached to the straw.
Ginger especially likes that.
Yeah, and the ducks like going in there and just walking around in it and laying down in it.
It makes us feel better to think that they've got a place to go if they want to.
Yeah, so they're very happy. And what I always get a kick out of in the winter is that it can be 10 degrees outside, and you'll see them splashing around in the water in the pool.
No problem. We break the ice in it, or actually we don't fill it at night in the winter so that it can be fresh water, and then it still changes.
But I mean,
think
of going in water when it's 10 degrees out. But it makes sense if you're a duck, because the ground temperature will be about 10 degrees, but the water temperature is above 32. Otherwise, it's frozen. So it's like it's a little sauna for the ducks and geese. We keep them with water pretty much all the time, although sometimes when we have 0 degree days or something like that, we don't let them out much because it's just a little too cold, and you can't keep water unfrozen when it's 0 degrees.
But mostly all year long.
Yep, mostly
Every
all year
day,
long.
they're out.
Yeah, we got 2 pools out there right now, so they're pretty
have
happy.
to fight it.
And let's talk quickly. We just have a couple minutes left about the birds.
Yeah, we've seen. We like to have a special winter bird. We're not sure that any of these we're going to talk about, these 2 anyways, are going to be our
We're talking about a wild bird that
wild
just happens
birds
to
are
show
in the
up.
yard that we see at our feeders. We've seen white-throated sparrows for a few weeks off. I haven't seen them lately, but we saw them for a while, which
and
we love.
last year we had a white-throated sparrow that stayed with us all winter, and so that was fun. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and it was fun. They're a fun little bird. They got a lot of personality.
And the year before, we had a Carolina wren that stayed all winter, or at least it stayed until a week after a big blizzard.
Just a wonderful little bird. And recently, we've seen the red-breasted nuthatch, which is, if you've ever seen that, it's tinier than a regular nuthatch, just adorable, kind of orangey chest and black and white stripes on his forehead.
Not real common where we live, in the part of the state where we live. Although I talk to people who have them. People who have a lot of pine trees tend to have them, but we generally only see one maybe once or twice a year. But this year
it was hanging around a lot.
Yeah, we would see one for over a week or so, and then he'd disappear, and then we don't know if he would appear again or if we saw another one. But we had many sightings.
About 7 days ago we saw him.
Yep, but haven't seen him since.
Comes to the suet and the feeder. Well, mostly the feeder.
I guess they're pretty tame because on the birding group, a couple people talked about how readily they'll eat out of your hand.
Yeah, I walked right up to that feeder the other day, and there he was.
Yep.
So we're hoping we get a special winter bird. Not sure if we will. We're hoping.
Yep, but we had a nice day, probably a good month ago now, where we were walking out to the back of the property. And
that was more than a month ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I said, what the heck is that? It was a woodpecker, but it was shaped very strangely, and the color was different, and I said, oh my gosh, and it was
yellow-bellied sapsucker.
Yellow-bellied sapsucker.
And I'd never seen one of those in my entire life, ever.
Yeah, and I've only gotten glimpses of one, but we got a pretty good look.
Yeah,
they were bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
And then that thing flew off, and we'd hardly even turned around, and then Linda said, what's that bird up in the tree? And I said, I don't see anything, and she kept saying, no, it's a pretty good-sized bird.
Had long tail, didn't have a beige chest, it didn't have striping or anything.
Dark bird with the light underparts, and it had a kind of long curved beak.
Yeah.
A slightly curved beak. And it was a cuckoo. And we got good looks at the binoculars, and you can tell a yellow-billed cuckoo because the beak is upper part is black and the lower beak is yellow.
I would have never noticed that. But it's a very good-sized bird, very attractive, with a real long tail. Beautiful bird.
Yeah, and I guess
it's been there for a long time.
Yeah, and it's unusual to see that as late in the year as we saw it too. So
have we ever seen a yellow-billed cuckoo? Is that No, it's a black-bill we usually see.
No, we usually see the yellow-bill. We usually hear them rather than see them. But yeah, we've
see those both within 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Right. So those were 2 good birds.
Yeah.
So
you never know what you're going to see on the river.
Nope. So that's the end already.
Already?
Yep. Well, we covered most of the topics. So actually, I guess we covered them all. So thanks for listening to yet another episode of What Were You Thinking with Bob Tart and Linda Tart.
Send us some stories.
Yeah, if you have stories about your animals, if you want to email me, just bob@petliferadio.com. Check out my website, bobtart.com, for information on my 3 books. So thanks to you for listening, and thanks to my producer, Mark Winter at Pet Life Radio. Bye-bye.
You have a good winter.
Bye-bye.
Thinking about buying a monkey? How about a ferret or a skunk? Then check out the show that will answer the burning questions. Where do you get them? What do you feed them? How do you take care of them? And most of all, what were you thinking? With exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart. Every week on demand from PetLifeRadio.com.